The statements that you reflected on in the activity and the commentary that follows in this section are based on the book Doing Task-Based Teaching by Dave Willis and Jane Willis. Now we're going to debunk some of the common misconceptions regarding task-based language teaching, or TBLT. Misconception 1. Language learners can complete tasks only if they know the right grammar. When considering this statement, think of examples from your own classes. When learning a language, the need to talk about past events emerges early on. We want to be able to say what happened to us last weekend or last year. However, the past tense forms are usually not taught right away in any language curricula. Yet, students do attempt to express the past with whatever linguistic resources they have. For example, they can say, "Yesterday I go to the movies." This sentence is certainly not correct grammatically, but it perfectly conveys the intended meaning. In TBLT, language production and communication are encouraged before learners master the grammatical forms. As Willis and Willis say, task-based language teaching promotes learners' confidence by providing them with plenty of opportunities to use language in the classroom without being constantly afraid of making mistakes. Once they have a stock of words, they can begin to communicate. And once they begin to communicate, we can help them shape their language so that it becomes more complex and more grammatical. This approach is new compared to earlier language teaching approaches. Misconception 2. TBLT ignores the importance of grammar. Some may say that the communicate first, grammar later approach ignores the importance of proper grammar. However, encouraging learners to communicate without knowing the right grammar does not mean that TBLT ignores grammar. TBLT accepts the importance of grammar but engages in meaning-focused activities first. Grammatical forms are very much in the focus in TBLT. However, the order in which they're taught is different from earlier methodologies. Think of the traditional model of Presentation Practice Performance, or PPP. When applying this model, first the new forms are presented to the learners. For example, they will listen to a recording of a person talking about what he or she did last weekend. Then, the learners practice the past tense forms in a controlled way. When they reach a certain level of accuracy, they are prompted to engage in a more communicative activity in which they can talk about past events of their own. This is the performance phase. With task-based teaching, the learners are encouraged to engage in communication with the language resources they already have. Will they make errors? Yes, most likely they will. At the same time, engaging in meaning-focused activities makes learners acutely aware of what they need to learn, which increases their motivation and provides a meaningful context. Then, they are given form-focused activities to help them develop that language. Later, they may do another meaning-focused task, which gives them the opportunity to use some of the language forms they have practiced earlier. Misconception 3. TBLT is not suitable for learners who are preparing for a language exam. It is true that task-based language teaching is not designed with examinations in mind. However, TBLT focuses on real-world language proficiency. It is designed to produce learners who can use the target language in the real world to carry out actual linguistic tasks. If the exam aims to measure proficiency, or the learner's ability to use the language, then TBLT will effectively prepare them for this. There are exams that place strong emphasis on grammatical accuracy, and TBLT can be adapted to address this need by adding more form-focused activities that help the learners improve their accuracy. Misconception 4. TBLT is only for speaking, not writing and reading. Many people believe that TBLT focuses almost entirely on the spoken language. TBLT can be applied to teach both speaking and reading. There is certainly a lot of talking in the task-based classroom from both teachers and learners, but TBLT can also be applied to teach reading and writing. Speaking is not the only task. Reading and writing are tasks as well. Misconception 5. Tasks are always done in pairs or groups. It is true that task-based teachers like learners to work in pairs and groups. However, this is done simply because TBLT gives learners more opportunities to collaborate and use the language. Collaborative teaching techniques such as think, pair, share promote meaningful language use. The most important thing in TBLT is the willingness to engage with learners in communication and allow learners the freedom to use the language even if they make mistakes. This is not always easy to do for teachers because they are used to controlling the language that the learners produce. TBLT requires a teacher to give up some of this control and have confidence in the learners, despite the errors that learners will likely make. Let's summarize what we've learned by deconstructing some misconceptions about TBLT. Task-based language teaching promotes learners' confidence and provides opportunities to use language without fear of making mistakes. TBLT encourages communication by allowing the learner to use what they know already to begin using the language, but it still helps identify what still needs to be learned. TBLT focuses on real-world language proficiency, but also helps students learn proper grammar. Task-based language teaching uses speaking, reading, and writing as tasks to simulate the full language learning experience. And finally, TBLT gives the learner control to self-motivate, progress through the material at a comfortable pace, and collaborate with fellow learners in activities.